Hello, this is Mr. Muller for lesson 5.9, Simple Interest. This can be another lesson that could be difficult, so I'll be teaching you, but this way you can go back and rewatch this video at home. So our formula for today is going to be I equals, here's our I, standing for simple interest, P, which is our principal, so our starting amount, our rate, which is usually as a percent, and then times T, which means our years. So important that this is years, so if it ever gives you a problem like 24 months, you convert that to years. Okay, so I equals P times R times T. And just to review, if I had something that said, for example, 4.5%, 4.5% when I type it into my calculator would look like D. Remember, we're going to pretty much divide by 100, so 0.0045. It's 0.045, not 2 zeros. Alright, so I'm going to write my formula up at here top so I don't forget. I equals P times R times T. And with every problem, they're going to give us at least 3 of these, and we need to figure out the 4th one. Alright, so this one is asking how much interest, so right away I know I need to find what I is earned on $6,000, there's my principal, because that's what I'm starting with, times deposit for 5 years, well there's my time, so I'll put that at the end, and at a 7.5% interest rate, so that's going to be 0.075. That's 7.5% interest. So this one, when I'm finding the interest, these are going to be the simpler problems, so I'm really just going to multiply it out. So 6,000 times 0.075 times 5 years is going to be $2,250. That means if I had $6,000 and I went to the bank and they said, okay, if you give us your $6,000, we'll give you 7.5% interest on it. Well, after 5 years, I would have earned another $2,250. That means I would really have $8,250, even though I only gave them $6,000. All right, next problem. For how many years? So now I know I'm finding my years. Turn my formula back up on top here. Would have to be invested, would $2,500 have to be invested at 6% to earn $1,050 in interest? All right, it says right there, $1,050 is my interest. My principal, it says I'm depositing $2,500. It gives me my rate at 6%, which is 0.06. And I don't know my time, so I'm going to put an X there. Alright, so now it just turns into an algebra problem. So 2,500 times 0.06 is going to give me 150. So 150x, because I still don't know my time. So I get 1,050 equals 150x. Divide both sides by 150. Divide both sides by 150. And I end up with 7 years. That means this is a little more how it would go where, oh, I have this money, I want to earn this much more money, how long would it take me? Well, it would take me 7 years to get that extra $1,050. Alright, and the last one we're going to do, write my formula up top again. At what interest rate would $3,600 have to be invested in order to double in 10 years? Alright, this one's kind of tricky because we only see 2 numbers, but it says the word double right there. So that means I want to earn another $3,600 in interest. Okay, and it's asking what the rate would be. So I know my principal is 3,600. My rate is what I don't know, so I'm going to put an X there. And in 10 years. Alright, I need to figure out what my percent is going to be now. Alright, so I have 3,600 times 10 is going to give me 36,000. So now I have 3,600 equals 36,000 x. Again, now it's just an algebra problem. Divide both sides by 36,000. Divide both sides by 36,000. That crosses out, and I end up finding out that I would need 10% of interest. Usually interest rates, if you went to the bank right now, they'd probably give you like 1%. So a lot of you are probably asking like, oh, why don't my mom and dad do this? That's because these are pretty much real numbers. You're not going to really find anything that's 10% interest rate. Otherwise, a lot of people would be doing it. Usually, if you go to the bank today, it's more like 1% or maybe like 1.5%. So these numbers would be a lot smaller. This is pretty much what the lesson is. We'll go over some more problems tomorrow before we start the homework.